This is how I made my layered carrot cake soap. First off, you want to shred some orange soap to mimic carrots. Next, you'll have to use some spice essential oils, which most of them will speed up trace. I'm soaping at about 87 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd like to soap around 95 to 100, but this one got a little bit cooler than expected, but it's okay. If you see, I'm just gonna lightly pulse until the oils are mixed on the top. Make sure that you burp your blender so you don't get a bunch of air inside your batch. I'm gonna leave it at this, and each section I'll blend a little bit more. I'm separating it in 3 separate containers. I'm using 3/4 of a teaspoon of cocoa powder. Be sure to get all the clumps mixed on the sides, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of take my spatula and rub it against the sides. I'll stir it. If I see clumps, I'll pull them to the sides and mix them. Now I want to mix to a light or a medium trace. You want it to stay fluid enough so when you do pour it, it'll lay level in your mold. If you overmix it, it's going to be clumpy. That's kind of the secret of getting straight layers. And again, I'm just pulsing it and feeling if it's getting thicker. Now I'm separating out my 2 sections for each layer of cake to mimic the carrots. I'm just kind of putting them in little bowls to eyeball them to make sure they're going to be the same size. Add 1 bowl to the bottom layer of this soap. And make sure you stir it so it's not all clumped up in there. Next, I'm going to add my essential oils. I'm just eyeballing it to 1/3 of this section with my finger. And again, these essential oils will speed up trace. There's ginger, there's clove, a little bit of clove. Now it's time to pour my first layer, and if you see, it's at a fairly light trace, but this will ensure that it lays in there flat. Now I'm just putting a light pencil line on there just to make it look like it's a little bit of burnt cake. And you just make sure you use a screen that you don't put too much on there. I have waited about 5 to 10 minutes, and what you'll look for to see if it's shiny on the top. If it's lost some of its shine and you wiggle your mold, you're ready for the next layer. My next layer is just going to be white frosting. And again, mix to light or medium trace, not too thick or it won't lay in there flat. And again, I'm eyeballing the essential oils. So you want to lay something down when pouring this that it takes some of the pressure off of that layer. You don't want to just drop it on top or it's going to break through. So I'm just laying a little spatula right there to take most of the pressure off. And you can see that it's still very fluid, but with these essential oils, it should speed up pretty quick once it's mixed with them. Again, just a little pencil layer with cocoa powder. It's been about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to start my Next layer, it's gonna look just like the bottom layer. The same amount of essential oils, the same amount of cocoa powder, which was 3/4 of a teaspoon, and about the same amount of carrot shavings inside. Again, just lightly mixed to lighter medium trace. You want it fluid so it lays in there flat. I'm adding my carrot shavings. Make sure that they're mixed well and they're not clumped together in there. Eyeball the essential oils and put inside this batch. And again, make sure you put a spatula down so it doesn't break through that white frosting layer. Putting on a little bit of a pencil line just to mimic a burnt look of a cake. I've waited about 5 minutes and now I'm working on my last layer, which is the frosting. I'm going to save a little bit of it to make my carrots and to make my greenery on the carrot. So there's going to be orange and green. I'm just adding infusion to this carrot color, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it to the color that I want. This will be a little bit more oily on those carrots since there's more oil than the lye. Next, I'll be adding Annatto Seed and indigo to make green. I always add my Annatto Seed first, and then you can just keep adding the indigo to the green color that you'd like. It looks like I poured too much in, so I'm just scooping a little bit out. And this does have the essential oil, so these will kind of set up a little bit quicker than what it was going to do. Okay, now I'm just doing a decorative top. It's set up for a little bit, and the more it's set up, the way this will work a little bit better. If it's set up too much, it's not going to pull like this, so you just got to wait for the right consistency. And you could draw this out so that they're more even. Since I'm putting carrots on top of this, it doesn't really matter. And they're all going to be cut into 1-inch bars. I'm just doing it a second time in these spots just to raise it up a little bit more. You could just leave it like this, or I'm going to put some carrots in there. Just using a little piping bag. It's still a little bit runny, I guess, lighter trace. It's not super thick. It's thick but not super thick. And I need to mark my spots so I can make sure I'm putting the carrots between each bar. So you just lightly squeeze, and then you want to take your bag and jiggle it back and forth, and then towards the end pull. Lightly squeeze, jiggle back and forth, and then pull. Now I'm just kind of pulling the bottoms of the carrots just to give them a more realistic look with a skewer stick. Now I'm gonna put on the green part of the carrot, and I'm just going back and forth. And then taking a skewer stick once again to make it look a little bit more realistic. Now I'm just kind of putting lines like what you'd see in carrots, just to give them an even more realistic look. Just cleaning up just some little flaws. And then I will force gel by putting this batch inside my oven at the lowest setting. My lowest setting is 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll put it in there with these essential oils. You want to make sure that it doesn't get too hot. So I'm just going to kind of stick it in there for 10 minutes at that temp, turn it off, and then watch for it to gel. It shouldn't take too long, so just make sure that you keep a good eye on it. Pull it out once it starts gelling all the way through. This batch only took about 3 hours to set up with these essential oils. I let it cool down all the way, and I removed it from the mold. Cocoa powder also will look different. A lot of natural colorants will change the longer over cure time. Cocoa powder will get darker. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked this video.